It's high summer, and the wasps and yellow jackets have taken over. You can't sit on your own porch or eat a meal in your own yard without them swarming your plate and your cup. There's a nest under the eave you're afraid to go near. And every year, it's the same. They come back no matter what you do. So you go buy the cans of poison foam at the store, $40 a season, and you spray and they drop. And a week later, there are just as many as before. The store has you spending good money on a thing that does not truly solve it year after year. Now I'm going to show you how to be rid of the wasps and yellow jackets around your place for a few dollars, with things you can buy at any store. And better still, how to stop them coming back at all, which is the part nearly everybody misses. But before I tell you a single method, I must give you the plain safety word first. For these are stinging insects, and they are not to be trifled with, and I will not have anyone hurt. I am Emily, and I keep up this Lancaster County place with my own hands, the way my people always have. But I'm breaking with tradition today to share these secrets with everyone, because keeping knowledge locked away helps no one. So here is the safety, and you heed it. A wasp or yellow jacket sting is painful to anyone, but to some folks it is far worse. Some people are badly allergic, and a sting can make them dangerously ill, even threaten their life. So know your own household. If you or anyone near has that allergy, you do not go near a nest at all. You have someone else do it, or you call a professional. Plain and simple. And even for the rest of us, a nest is dangerous to disturb, for the whole colony can come boiling out and sting you many times over. A big nest, a nest high up where you would need a ladder, or a yellow jacket nest down in the ground. Those are not a job to tackle yourself. There is no shame in calling a professional for those, for a man up a ladder swarmed by wasps can fall and be badly hurt. What I'm showing you today is for the smaller troubles a careful body can safely handle. Know your limits, and when it is beyond them, call for help. The cheap way that works. Let me tell you where I come at this from, for it is the heart of why I trust the cheap ways. The old people had no store to run to for a $40 can of foam, and no money to spend on it if they had. So when the wasps got bad, they made do with what was in the house and the shed. A little borax, a little soap, a little sugar water, and their own wits, and they managed the pests well enough for next to nothing. My grandmother kept a tin of borax on a shelf in the shed that did a dozen jobs about the place, and dealing with the wasps and ants was one of them. She used to say there was an answer in the house for near every pest, if a body only knew it, and that the dear poisons from the store were mostly for folks who had forgotten the cheap answers. That is the spirit of what I'm giving you today. Not the expensive can that fails, but the few-cent answer that works the way the old people did it. Method 1. The boric acid bait. So here it is. Now with the safety understood, let me give you the first and best method, the one that kills the whole colony for a couple of dollars, even the nests you cannot find. You need two things: a bottle of sweet juice, apple juice does fine, from any store, a small container of pure boric acid, that fine white powder, which they sell at the hardware store right by the Pest things. A little container of it costs a few dollars and lasts you years. Mind you get the pure boric acid, the plain white powder, not the roach powders mixed with other chemicals. It is the same stuff near enough as the borax some folks have in the laundry cupboard, only finer and purer. One little container is a couple dollars and will make up batch after batch of bait for years. So it is about the cheapest pest remedy there is. Now, you make your bait. In a container, mix about 2 cups of the sweet juice with 2 teaspoons of the boric acid and stir it until the powder is all dissolved. That is the whole of your bait, and it cost you pennies. You can use a flat soda pop in place of the juice if that is what you have, or a little sugar water. Anything sweet that draws them, for it is the sweet that lures and the boric acid that does the work. Now let me tell you why this works, for it is a clever thing, and why it is different from the foam that fails you. Wasps and yellow jackets are scavengers, greedy for both sweet and meat, and that sweet juice draws them hard. But here is the beauty of it, and the part that matters. The honeybees will leave it be. For the honeybee is a different sort of creature. She forages the flowers in an orderly way and carries word of the flowers back to her sisters. and a dish of juice on the ground does not draw her the way it draws the greedy, scavenging wasp. So this bait takes the wasps and yellow jackets and spares the honeybees, which matters greatly, for the honeybee is a friend to us and to the garden, and we must never harm her. This is no small thing, and it is why I favour this bait over a broad poison that kills everything that touches it. The honeybee pollinates your garden and your orchard and the whole countryside, and her numbers are hard-pressed enough these days without us poisoning her by carelessness. A method that takes the troublesome wasp and leaves the helpful bee unharmed is a method worth knowing, and it is one more reason the cheap old way is better than the foam which kills friend and foe alike. How the bait works its magic. Now, the boric acid is a slow poison to the insect, and slow is exactly what you want. The wasp drinks the sweet bait, and it does not drop dead on the spot. It lives long enough to fly home and share that bait, as wasps do, with the queen and the young and the whole nest, and so the poison spreads through the entire colony from the inside. Within a few days, the whole nest dies, even a nest you never found nor saw. That is why it works where the foam fails. The foam kills the few wasps you can see and spray, while this bait kills the whole hidden colony through their own sharing. Think on what that means, for it is the whole genius of the thing. When you spray a nest with foam, you kill the wasps that are home at that moment. But the ones out foraging come back to a ruined nest and simply rebuild. Or the queen survives and starts anew. And so the trouble goes on. But the bait turns the wasp's own nature against them, for they cannot help but carry food home to share. It is bred into them. And so they carry the poison into the very heart of the nest, to the queen herself, who you could never reach. Kill the queen, and the colony cannot go on. It is a slower way, taking some days, but it is a surer and a deeper way, for it strikes the root, and not just the leaves of the trouble. Patience does what force cannot. How to set it out here is how you set it out. You do not set out an open dish they will drown in, for a drowned wasp cannot carry the bait home and the colony lives on. Instead, pour just a little of the bait into the bottom of an empty soda can. Just enough to wet the bottom, not enough to drown them. Then break a little stick and stand it in the can for a ramp so the wasps can climb down to the bait and back out again. They land, walk down the stick, drink, and fly home, carrying their doom to the nest. Set these cans about the edges of your property, up under the eaves, near where they gather. And here is a firm rule. Set them where no child nor pet nor dog can get at them or knock them over. Up out of reach. Set out several of them in the places you see the wasps working, and have patience, for this is not the quick foam. It works over some days as the poison spreads through the colony. So do not be discouraged if you still see wasps the first day or two. That is the bait being carried home and doing its work unseen. Refresh the bait every few days as it dries up or fills with rain, mixing a fresh batch, and keep it going until the wasps are gone, which is usually within a week or so. Mix the bait fresh as you need it, and do not keep a great deal of it about, just enough for the cans you are setting. A plain word about safety. Now let me say a plain word about the safety of this boric acid, for it is the honest kind of word that matters. Boric acid in this little dose is not dangerous to people or pets the way it is to insects. A dog or a child would have to eat spoonfuls of the raw powder to come to any harm, and at the weak strength in this watery bait, it is genuinely safe around the home. But that does not mean you leave the powder where children get into it, nor the bait where a pet drinks it down. Keep the powder put away like any such thing, up high and closed, and set the bait cans out of reach. Safe, used rightly, but treated with the plain care you would give anything of the sort. That honest caution is how I keep your trust. I would rather tell you a thing is mostly safe and still bid you mind the children than overpromise it, and have someone careless come to harm. Boric acid or borax is an old and useful thing about a house, but like salt or lye or any such, it has its right and careful use, and a thing kept up out of reach and used with sense is a thing that serves you well and harms no one. Method 2. Soap and water. Now, the bait is for the hidden colonies and works over days. But what if you have a nest right there on the house that you can reach and want gone? Here is the second method, and it is so simple you will not believe it works, but it does, and it costs you near nothing. Take a spray bottle, fill it with water, and add a good squirt of plain dish soap and shake it up. That is your wasp killer. Here is why it works. Plain physics, no poison at all. A wasp's body is coated in a fine, waxy layer that keeps the water out, and it breathes not through a mouth, but through tiny holes along the sides of its body. The soap breaks down that waxy coat and lets the water flood in through those breathing holes, and the wasp drowns quick. You spray the nest directly and keep spraying. Do not stop. Within seconds, the wasps drop. Soap and water from your own kitchen and the nest is done. Now here is the right way to go about it, so you do not get stung. You do this at dusk in the evening as the light fails, or in the early dark, for that is when the wasps are all home and gone quiet and sluggish and slow to rouse. In the heat of the day they are out and active and quick to swarm. So wait for the cool of evening, approach quiet, and have your way clear to step back quick. Soak the nest well and steady, and then leave off and step away. A good stout stream of the soapy water reaching the nest is what you want. So a spray bottle that shoots a stream, rather than a fine mist, serves best, letting you stand a little back from it. The one hard rule about water and nests. But now I must give you the one hard rule of the soap and water way, and it is a matter of life and limb. So hear it well. You must never ever use this water spray on a nest near anything electrical. Not near a light fixture, not near a switch or an outlet or a breaker box or any wire. Water and electricity together can kill you. And every single year, folks end up in the hospital or worse because they stood on a ladder spraying water at a wasp nest, stuck up against an electric light fixture, and got a terrible shock. So if that nest is anywhere near electrical wiring, you put the water away and do not use it. For a nest near wiring, there is a special non-conducting wasp spray made just for that danger that the professionals use. Or better yet, that wired location is just the kind of job where it is wise to call a professional and not risk yourself. Never water near wires. I cannot say it plainer than that. The secret nobody knows now here is the part that almost everybody skips, and it is the single reason the wasps come back to your house every single year, like clockwork. You knock down the nest, and you think you are done, but you are not. And next spring, they are right back in the very same spot. Why? Because a wasp nest, even after it is gone, leaves behind its scent on the wood. A chemical mark the wasps lay down. And that lingering mark is like a signpost to next year's young queens that says, here is a proven safe place to build. So a new queen comes in the spring, smells that old mark under your eave, and builds in the exact same spot her predecessor did. That is not bad luck. That is the real reason, the thing you could not see. And it is why folks have the same wasp trouble in the same corner year after year after year. So here is how you break that cycle and stop them coming back. After the nest is gone, you treat the spots where they like to build. The eaves, the rafters, the corners under the porch roof, with a long-lasting insecticidal dust made for the purpose, which you puff into the cracks and corners with a little duster. This is the one store-bought helper in the whole business, and I will be straight with you about that. It is a real pesticide, and not a folk remedy, but a good one lasts many months out in the weather, even through rain. And any wasp that lands on a treated spot picks it up and carries it home to kill the nest the same slow way the bait does. You dust your eaves and building spots once in the spring, and you head off the new nests before they ever start, breaking that scent trail cycle that brings them back. And there is a plainer step you can take too, with no pesticide at all, which is to scrub down the spot where an old nest was. A good wash with soapy water to clean away as much of that lingering scent mark as you can. So the new queen has no signpost telling her to build there. It does not erase it as sure as the dust does, but it helps and costs nothing. Treat the surface, not just the nest, whether with the lasting dust or just a good scrubbing of the old spot. And that is the secret almost nobody knows. Most folks fight the same nest in the same corner their whole lives, never knowing that the corner itself was calling the wasps back. Why the pest control companies don't tell you this? Now, let me say the small honest word about why the title of this is what it is. The wasp trick the pest control companies don't advertise. For I want to be straight with you about that, since some might take it wrong. I am not telling you the exterminators are hiding some great secret from you in a plot. The boric acid is no secret. Anyone can buy it. The professionals know it well and use it themselves. The plain truth is simpler than a plot, and it comes down to money. A jar of boric acid costs a few dollars and lasts you years, and there is simply no money in it for a company to drive out to your house and earn a $300 service call by pouring out a $6 jar of powder you could buy yourself. So they do not advertise the cheap thing you can do alone, because there is no profit in teaching it. I am not telling you a man schemed this against you. No one had to. It is worse than a conspiracy because it is a system nobody had to coordinate. It simply pays far better to sell a service call than to teach a body the few dollar fix he could do himself. And so the cheap fix goes untaught, not hidden by any plotter, just quietly left unsaid, because no one profits by saying it. Putting it all together. So there is your whole system, and it costs you but a few dollars all told. The boric acid and sweet juice bait in the little cans to kill the hidden colonies you cannot even find, from the inside out. The dish soap and water spray for the nests you can reach that are well away from any wiring. Great care or a professional for any nest near electricity or any nest too big or too high or down in the ground. The lasting dust on your eaves and building spots in spring to break the scent trail and stop them ever coming back. That is the cheap, honest, mostly self-reliant way to take back your porch and your yard. The way a careful body can manage for a few dollars instead of 40 a season on foam that does not last. A final word. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me where your wasps and yellow jackets keep building. The same cursed spot every year, I will wager. And have you tried the boric acid bait? For I would know how it serves you. The old people lived close among the insects, with no store to run to for a can of foam. And so they learned the cheap, clever ways to keep the peace with what they had. A little borax, a little soap, a little knowing, and they kept their homes and tables free of pests for next to nothing. There is a plain wisdom in that we have traded away for the expensive can that does not even work. The home kept free of pests by a few cents, and a little knowing is the home that remembers how the old people really managed. The people who built this country with their hands knew that. Quick reference guide, boric acid bait. Recipe, 2 cups sweet juice, apple juice, soda or sugar water. 2 teaspoons pure boric acid powder. Mix until dissolved. Place in shallow containers with stick ramps. Set out of reach of children and pets. Refresh every few days. Soap and water spray. Spray bottle with water. Add squirt of dish soap. Shake well. Spray nests at dusk. Never use near electrical wiring prevention. Dust eaves and building spots in spring. Scrub old nest locations with soapy water. Break the scent trail cycle. Remember, safety first. Know your limits. Call a professional for big nests or nests near electricity. And always, always keep children and pets away from any pest control products.